Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are bringing back community replays. This one sent in by none other than Ballin' with Colin. He does have a YouTube channel. I'm not sure if it's a thing that he uploads regularly to, but I will leave a link to his channel down in the description below. And what you guys are about to watch is the new world record for the Tier 8 Italian destroyer, the Adriatico. So buckle in, folks. You're in for an exciting ride. We are going to have a pretty epic match here. But right off the bat, you're going to notice we are on Warrior's Path. We're going to move off to the left side. Now, if you look at the map, we have two destroyers heading over to this flank, one destroyer going over to the other flank. It is a carrier game, and I believe we are top tier. Now, right off the bat, he's going to throw some aerial denial torps. You'll notice that he is running twist and track or perceptive, whichever, but he knows the closest enemy is in that direction. So throwing some torpedoes out there to try to get there, deny a specific spot is a good idea. Now, I've never played the Adriatico, but I have played the Italian destroyers, as you guys know, and I feel like they peaked at Tier 5. But I might have to take a look at the Adriatico after watching this replay because it's kind of interesting. It still has the same issues that I have with all the other ones. But right off the bat, we've got a Sumner here spotted. We've got SAP loaded. Obviously, this is where the Italian destroyers come into their own, is fighting other destroyers with using their SAP. SAP is devastating to destroyers because it's just going to just pin everything everywhere and just ruin destroyers. But Sumner goes ahead, disengages. We can't continue to press him because we have an A gear pushing in and the carrier is on top of us. So we're going to go ahead, use our, and that was a drop from a Louisiana, actually. So this is actually bottom tier gameplay, which is a little bit more normal for a tier 8. So anyway, as we escaped getting yeeted by the Louisiana, the Ager is pushing in. That's terrifying. Why is the Ager pushing in terrifying? Because the Ager has long-range extended sonar, and it has nasty secondaries as well as good primaries. It is a disgusting, and torpedoes. It is a disgusting ship to go against, especially in a destroyer. Now here comes the Sumner torpedoes, so we got to get out of the smoke. Obviously, it's a creeping smoke, so we can kind of get out of here and not have to worry about it too much. And we're going to use the island to shield us and limit who can engage us. And this is something I've mentioned so many times. Our teammate is not going to do that. Let's see how that works out for him. He decides that it's a good idea in his Z-52 to charge down a Sumner, a Louisiana, and an Ager. I wonder how that works out for him. Now, our team is already down a ship. The Sumner is being engaged by us. We did get a torpedo hit as well on the Ager, so that's good news. But at least trying to keep him back, but of course the Z-52 is already dead. Shocker. And here you'll notice that we are beyond 4.5 kilometers from that Ager, and we're spotted. Why are we spotted? Because of the sonar. Sonar works through islands. So does radar. So you got to be aware of that. But notice what he's doing. He's not staying there where everybody can shoot him and have the advantage. He's backing up, using the island for cover. The only thing he really has to worry about at this point is whether or not they're going to be dumb enough to rush him, which we always say, chasing around an island is a bad idea. It almost always ends poorly for the person that is coming around the island. Now, our cruiser decides to radar here, which is actually kind of clutch because it gives us a chance to know that we're being rushed by both of these guys. So Sumner comes out, we've already got the SAP loaded, and we're able to easily get rid of him. And then we quickly have the torpedoes ready to go. We're going to drop that. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to dodge all these torpedoes. We did lose the engine momentarily, and before we can get out of the way, we end up taking a torpedo. Fortunately, his airdrop torpedo didn't do a whole lot of damage. But we do end up absolutely dev striking the Ager. Again, chasing around an island is almost always going to end in a swift removal. It's just a bad idea. Almost always ends poorly. Because the person that's sitting there waiting for you usually has you spotted, right? You guys see each other because of the proximity detection. There's the Louisiana. But you see each other due to proximity detection. So the person sitting there waiting for you has all day to figure out what they're going to do. Whether it's place a shot through the cheek on your way around the corner. For battleships, that's what I like to do. If you're in a destroyer like this, line up your torp drop. Like, you have all day to do it. And before the enemy can even get their guns to shoot you, you've already launched on them or shot through their bow or whatever. So the exchange is just so one-sided. Now, we do launch some torps in the direction of that Louisiana. And the problem with Italian torpedoes is they take forever to go anywhere. Like, they just do. And we've hit 7 of them. Of course, most of those hits were on the enemy Aegir. Sorry, my brain is fogged up right now. But we get our drop away on the Louisiana, but he's actually overleading this because Louisiana obviously knows there's destroyers in the area. The friendly cruisers' torpedoes get there first, forcing Louisiana to turn back out, which is in theory a great thing for our torpedoes. But when these torps are so slow, obviously Brisbane gets himself killed. I don't know why you try to YOLO rush a Louisiana or any other battleship in a Brisbane or Mino. You just die. If you're in a Brisbane or a Mino and you YOLO rush a battleship, 9 times out of 10 you are dead. You're praying to God that they overpin you and don't send you to the Shadow Realm with citadels. It does happen occasionally, but more often than not, you just get dev struck and you never get your torpedoes away. And if you do get your torpedoes away, you better make sure you hit them. And he did none of that. He didn't hit the Louisiana, and he got killed. So not an ideal situation. Now, our team has completely fallen apart. There is a battleship, or 2 battleships, the carrier, and a destroyer left, with the enemy having a Brisbane as well. So right now he's leaving the Louisiana, and I actually don't have a problem with this, because if you leave the Louisiana here, you're going to let people get complacent. Plus, this Montana hasn't had anybody launching torps at him for a while, so he's not expecting to be torped. However, if you notice, that Montana varied his speed momentarily. He slowed down and then sped back up. And as soon as he sped back up, that was when Adriatico, or Colin here, ended up dropping his torps. So those torps are going to be a bit behind. Now, here's what he's going to do next. He's going to try to bait the Montana into slowing down. And so you'll see he switches over to HE, and he starts firing in the direction of the Montana. You can see he realizes his torpedoes are a little bit slow, so he's going to try to fire at him, get the Montana to overthink things. But I think he waited a little too long for this, and Montana is actually going to escape most of the damage from these torpedoes. He is going to take a couple of them, but he could have taken a lot more. I think if he would have started shooting a little bit sooner, maybe Montana slows down, eats a couple more of those torpedoes, but is what it is. It's one of those things where sometimes you know that you're going to miss, and you try to make people overthink it. You guys have seen me do this on stream on multiple occasions, where I end up eating stupid torpedoes because I overthink a situation, where I just go, okay, well, I know torpedoes are likely on their way, so I'm going to change course. Well, if the person anticipated that's what you were going to do, a lot of times you'll end up changing course and running into the torpedoes, whereas if you'd have just stayed going straight, you would have avoided them. And that is something that I get into. But I would much rather assume that somebody's launching on the white line and change course and then end up eating torpedoes, because that makes it... more often than not, you're going to dodge torpedoes doing that, right? Just more often. Now here, I don't agree with this torp launch. He launches in the direction of the Montana while the Montana is sailing away and at his skinniest. He knows the Louisiana is close. There was no reason for him to take that shot in the direction of that guy. Now, I'm not hating. I'm just pointing out things. I mean, guy's got 154,000 damage. There isn't a whole lot to nitpick here. He's done a great job up to this point. But I just call things as I see them, and he knew the Louisiana was pushing. So if he had held his torps there, he would have had a torp drop where he could have used some of his... he's about to get a smoke back. He could have used his smoke to YOLO rush this Louisiana and killed him here. Easily. Okay? But... unfortunately, that ship sailed when he launched his torpedoes at the Montana, and those torps were never going to hit anything. That Montana has all year to get out of the way of these torps. Again, Italian torpedoes are very slow. Now, Montana gets out, turns back in towards us. We go ahead and use our smoke, and now we're going to start using HE to set some fires on the Montana. He knows that their other destroyer is out there, so hopefully somebody launched and hit him with torpedoes. But unfortunately, he doesn't manage to get anything out of that. We did get a fire, and the fire burned for quite a while on Montana after we hit him with a torpedo earlier. But at this point, we're in a world of hurt. There's torpedoes coming either from a plane or the enemy cruiser. We launch here. Again, you could see that the white line was changing course here. If he is a little bit more patient, he probably would have gotten a better shot off on these torps against the Louisiana. When you're in a destroyer like this, I know that time can seem to go pretty quick because things are hectic. You got a Brisbane closing in. You've got the two battleships seemingly coming directly at you. So you've got to have an escape route. But you also have to have a little bit of a calm mind in this situation. And just be a little bit more patient because, again, this is the third time now that we would have had a good chance to potentially take out the ship. But... unfortunately, we do hit 3. We hit 3, and now we have the midway. So, this is what I'm talking about. So, if he'd have saved his torpedoes, and again, not hating, just pointing out what, in the situation, I would have done. Instead of launching at the Montana, he saves his torpedoes, uses his smoke to bum rush the Louisiana. Then, he's got a clear shot to come over here. He would have had his torps again, because he wouldn't have used them on the Louisiana there. He would have been able to come over here and kill this midway by bum rushing him. But now he's slowing down to shoot at the midway with the Brisbane right behind him. But notice he's using the island to try to shield himself. But unfortunately, Brisbane has very floaty shells and can get over the side of the island. So you need to get around the island a little bit further. And he's also got to try to dodge the torpedoes from the airdrop, the midway. And again, he does actually anticipate that the carrier is going to turn here. Obviously, you know the carrier's likely to turn. He sees you. He knows you're there. You're firing at him. So he's not going to stay in a straight line unless he's an absolute imbecile. So fair point. But you can see Brisbane is in a perfect position to counter him. Now, I will say something to this Brisbane. Like, I understand what the Brisbane's doing here. But there is no reason for this Brisbane to stay in the cap here. This Brisbane should have just YOLO rushed this Adriatico and gotten rid of him. The Louisiana does go down to a flood from the Hayate, so our torpedo that we got there at the end caused the damage control, and Hayate was able to get a flood and finish him off. So now it is a 3 versus 2, but we're running out of time. We got less than 2 minutes left. I believe this was a winnable game if a couple of things had changed there in the middle. But unfortunately, as it sits, we're down 200 points. The midway is running away, so we've lost our chance to take him out. The Montana is out on the flank, and we don't really have a chance to take him out. And the Brisbane is over here in the cap doing Brisbane things, where he is capturing the base and also shooting at the destroyer. But Brisbane is struggling to hit consistent shots and finish off the destroyer. We almost had a disaster there where we ran into the torpedo with the no-look dodge. But again, we know we're gonna lose this match. There ain't a whole lot we can do about it. We don't have the AP to Citadel the Brisbane. Take a couple of shots, throw the torps out there. These torps aren't even going to get to the Brisbane before the game ends. So kind of too little too late. But an amazing game. He's firing his guns at the Brisbane, trying to hit the Brisbane as well. But Brisbane goes out of range. So we drop spot, and this game is going to come to a close relatively quickly. As the friendly Hayate ends up getting himself killed. Again, you kind of got to go for broke here. You got to try to shoot and kill things, even though you know that you're at a disadvantage. The Montana had died too. So between these guys, this is what I'm saying. They could have easily done it. The only thing that's missing is the destroyer. We don't know where the destroyer went. So at the end of the day, would you have pulled it off? I don't know. But it's still an amazing game. It was a fun replay. Got real hectic there at the end, dodging all the shells from the Brisbane and all the torps from the Midway while trying to fire your guns and throw torps. It got real hectic. But it was still a fun replay, and I want to say thank you to Ballin' with Colin for sending it in. Again, I will leave a link to his channel down in the description below. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.